iterative life cycle model. So can you see here? So this model is different than waterfall model. Waterfall model is a linear sequential model, right? One phase finished, then only next phase will start. But here, so this is the incremental or iterative life cycle, this one. So where instead of one large development time frame from beginning to end, so we can cycle through a number of smaller, small projects you can take and you can develop. That's a iterative life cycle model means. So this is the one. See, phase one, you will define, develop, build, test, and implement it. That's the one phase is over. The next phase before starts, this phase one is completed successfully, and it will go further live. And the second phase on top of the first phase, second phase will be started. So it is iterative, one by one, small projects. But waterfall is not like that, right? Waterfall, a bigger project you will take up, and you will develop long term, 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. That's the waterfall model. But this one is not like that. You will break up. So the requirement, and you will break up and will take a small features, and then you will develop. That's this iterative or incremental model means. So basically, what will happen here is, so a common feature of iterative approach is that so delivery is divided into small builds or small increments. So with each increment, you are going to add a new functionality. Each phase, each increment, you will add a new functionality. Small functionalities will be developed. The initial increment will contain the infrastructure of your application. So then you will add the application requirements on top of the application environment infrastructure after. So then you will add the new functionalities. So, and the initial increment will contain only infrastructure related requirements to be built, and that will be used for the next subsequent phase. So the increment produced by an iteration may be tested at several levels as part of its development. So once the first phase is done, testing must be done. Several levels you will do testing, like component testing, integration testing. These are the test levels, right? System testing and user acceptance testing. Then it will go for the live. So one round of all the different levels of testing you will do. So the increment produced by an iteration may be tested at several levels as part of its development. That's a mandatory. A lot of levels of testing will happen. Subsequent increments will need testing for the new functionality, like a regression testing of the existing functionality and integration testing of the both the new and existing parts. So why you need to do regression testing? When you join the old feature with the new one, it might affect, right? We don't know where it is affecting. Old one is affecting or new one is affecting. We don't know. That's why you have to do entire old and new parts. One more time, you have to test all of the test cases. That's the regression test. And integration, why? When you join the phase one and phase two, the data is flowing from one module to other module. You have to check. That's integration, right? So that integration testing also you have to do several times in this iterative or incremental model. So this means that more testing will be required at each subsequent delivery phase, which must be allowed for the project plans. That's a main important point you have to take care. So basically construct a partial implementation of the total system, not a complete system. Very small features you will take. So then slowly add increased functionality, then add one by one requirement. So one by one feature you can add. The incremental model prioritize the requirements of the system and then implements them in groups. So each subsequent release of the system adds a new function the previous release. Until all designed functionality has been implemented, then you can go for this. So the strength of incremental model is develop high risk or major functions first. So you will develop high risk or major functions first. Each release delivers an operational product. So you will deliver working product only to the customers. Customer can respond to each build. That's another advantage. So you just divide and conquer role so to achieve the tasks completely. So lower initial delivery cost. So because it's a small features, right? That's why initial product delivery is faster because small feature you can finish quickly. So customers get important functionality early. So if customer likes first, I want this one first, you can prioritize, you can develop that first. That's another advantage here. Risk of changing requirements is reduced. So it is very less risk will be there because customer is there every phase after. So he is involved here. That's why very less risk will be there. So the weaknesses of this model is it requires good planning and design. If these two are not there, it will collapse. So requires early definition of complete and fully functional system to allow for the definition of next phase. First phase should be successfully working and functional. So system should work. Then you can go for this incremental model. So well-defined module interfaces are required. So you have to develop the previous pages very clearly. That's a incremental model. Total cost of the complete system is not lower. So total cost. So it's not because you are going to develop number of iterations, right? That's why cost will increase obviously. When to use this incremental model? So when you have risk, funding, schedule, program complexity is there, need for early realization of benefits, then you can go for this incremental model. Most of the requirements are known upfront, but are expected to change later. Over the time, based on the need, you can change the requirements also. You need to get basic functionality to the market early. You can get the functionality to the market very early, whichever is more important. So on projects which have lengthy development schedules, then you can cut down and you can use this model. So on a project with new technology you want to implement, then you can go for this iterative or incremental models. Okay, so that's the main points you can tell here. The requirements are divided and developed. That's instead of long, big project, long time frame project, you will divide all the requirements and you will develop phase by phase. Each phase, so you will do more regression and integration. All the test levels you will perform. So to ensure that it is working properly, and also you can take the new functionality to the market very early, and so customer can see that. So that's the main point. Some main points you can tell that. Okay, so that's this iterative or